The real reason that I didn't enjoy shooting this gun and why I'm probably not going to be shooting it much more after this review is this is the Glock 45 we have at home in the state of California. This is the Shadow Systems XR920. This is one of the firearms that recently got added to the California handgun roster. Takes Glock magazines. It has a Glock 17 length grip and a Glock 19 length slide, which a lot of you might not understand, and I didn't really quite understand, but I think I get it now. We're going to be talking about my opinions on this gun, some of the cool features, some of the concerns that I had going into it, and why I was not willing to do the review until I got upwards of 2,000 rounds through both of my Shadow Systems pistols. We'll talk about the neat features that they don't have anywhere else that these actually do, and why I think that this could be a good option, but also why I personally would not get one of these for myself. So I want to say thank you to Route 66 Shooting Sports Park down in San Bernardino, California. They got me in contact with Shadow Systems so that they would send this out to me for review, and Route 66 has provided me with enough ammo to shoot these guns to feel confident that I have shot them enough to see if there would be any failures on my end. And I'm very thankful for that, because otherwise I would not be able to afford and be able to provide you guys this content. I also want to say thank you to Hunter Constantine for supporting me. Hunter Constantine makes the best concealed carry belt on the market. The Hunter Constantine belt is rigid where you want it and stretchy where you need it. So check them out, use code Reno, check any of the other companies down in the description. Thank you. Okay, all those shots, all A zone, so. Okay, so really briefly, what is the XR920? What makes it desirable? What are the interesting features that these have that no other pistol has, or no other Glock-style firearm has? Well, things that set it apart from the current Gen 3 Glocks in the state of California is the frame ergonomics. It comes with a magazine well that works with 10-round mags, unlike many Glock mag wells. Interchangeable backstrap system here. I have opted for the slimmer one that is more, I guess, upright of an angle, less swept back. The grip texture on it is very nice. It is not the most aggressive polymer grip texture that I have felt, but it is definitely aggressive enough while still being something that you could, in theory, conceal carry. The magazine release is reversible, so I have mine set up for a right-hand shooter. But if I was left-handed and I didn't want to have to press it like this, I could swap the magazine release over to this side. It has a double undercut, which is something many people often do to their firearms. The front of the frame has a little bit of a, people call this a gas pedal or a shelf, so that when you're shooting like this, it gives you somewhere to index your thumb. That gives you a little bit more traction. In my experience, this did not provide any benefit. So the trigger, they advertise this as being an upgrade, as being a good thing, but we'll talk about that later. The trigger is there, and the magazine disconnect that is in this gun for the state of California is very easily removed. I'm not going to discuss that in detail, but it is very doable. The slide cuts on the front, very aggressive, very easy to rack the slide from the front. Serrations over the top, window cut on the side, serrations on the front. It is impossible to slip off. I mean, I could probably get it done just by friction alone. Like, I kind of cheated a little bit there, but you see, just pressing down, there is enough grip traction on there, which, that's neat. What really sets this slide apart, though, the optic mount. The optic footprint can accept any of the common red dots on the market. RMR pattern, Delta Point Pro pattern, the Vortex Defender, the RMSCC pattern. It just uses different little inserts and different screw lengths, but truly what sets it apart is that the screws go basically all the way through the slide. It uses a slightly different internal mechanism for the extractor, which was concerning to me because it was a departure from Glock's perfection. But I had no issues with that. And yeah, the optics platform sits very low, and it is incredibly sturdy because the screws are significantly longer. You are absolutely under no circumstance, if you use Loctite, I don't know how it would be possible for any of your optics to come loose on this gun, because you get a lot of thread bite. So I think that that's awesome. I wish that other companies could license this out. I wish that other companies could use this, but unfortunately it doesn't seem that that's the case. The loaded chamber indicator on these guns, because this is the state of California, is pretty unobtrusive. I'm going to see if I can get an angle for you. Yeah, it's pretty small, but if you have an optic that sits super low and super far forward, like the Siley Bull Pro, which I would not recommend you buy because it's hideous, you might need to remove that. Removing it is very easy to do. You take off the optic, it comes out, you put the optic back on, you're done. And if you're not running an optic, you take the optic plate off, you take the LCI out, you put the optic plate back on, and you're good to go. So, we talked about the features. A lot of really good features on this gun. Comes in a couple different colors. It's pretty pricey, and that's kind of why I don't really think I would buy one of these for myself. The real reason that I didn't enjoy shooting this gun, and why I'm probably not going to be shooting it much more after this review, is the trigger. This trigger in this gun and my DR920P are the worst factory Glock triggers that I've ever felt. I've done a significant amount of work to this gun, to the trigger, to get it to be decent. And I'm talking in relation to a factory Glock trigger. So you can hear a lot in there. When you pull the trigger, the slide wiggles a lot more than my Glocks. I don't know. You can't really see that very well on camera, but there's a lot of nastiness. Like in the take-up, when I first got it, it was just grit central. So you get the take-up out of the way, and then the rolling brake on it. I've got the brake tuned a little bit, and that's why it's much better now. But man, when I first got this thing, this trigger was terrible. And I didn't do anything to it for at least like 800 rounds, and I was getting this gun smoking hot. And the trigger was just bad. I've done a lot of polishing and bending to various internal components of the trigger and the inside of the frame. Which is saying something. This trigger was bad. Mine were bad. Now that being said, all of the other Shadow Systems pistols that I have picked up in various gun stores have been much better than my two experiences. But mine was not good. It took a lot of work to get to the point where I think it's okay. How does this one actually shoot? Well, this is the Glock 4519X style gun. It gives you a full grip with a shorter slide that reciprocates quickly. And I feel like I just don't like the way that this gun recoils. Like, it's very fast, but because you have a full grip on it, it's not out of control. Like, it's not breaking my wrists or anything, but I just find it unpleasant. The recoil pulse seems like it hits the rear really sharp, and then it comes back okay. It's just, I'm not a fan of it. I prefer my Glock 19. I prefer my Glock 19 with a ramjet significantly more. I prefer my SIG 320's recoil impulse over this. I prefer the DR920P significantly more than this. It's not that I can't shoot this gun. I can shoot this gun plenty fine. I can shoot it accurate enough, but I just don't enjoy the shooting experience. And that might be because the trigger is so bad on this gun that just in general I'm just not enjoying the actual experience of using this. But I don't know. It's to me, I don't like the recoil impulse. I really like the way this gun feels to like hold it, draw from the holster, pointing and that kind of thing. I like that. because it's got the full-size grip and the 19 slide, it feels pretty good to maneuver with, but I overall don't enjoy the shooting experience of this gun. I think a huge factor of that is the fact that the trigger sucks, at least in mine. My trigger in this gun sucks. It's okay now, but it sucked really bad. Would I buy this? Probably not. Is it fine? It's been perfectly reliable. The problems that I have is that there's a lot of concerns online about shadow systems. To give you a little bit of insight of how I do my reviews, if I get a gun in for review, I spend a lot of time looking up what user experiences are like on the internet. Because obviously, you know, there's going to be more people that have problems that complain online than people that are positive, you know, and then post about it. If you go into any shadow systems online social media forum, like Reddit, for example, you will see way too many people having problems with these guns. I'm talking every single step of the way, there are people experiencing problems. Whether it's the barrels being messed up, whether it's the slides having some sort of huge problem with it, whether it's the pins walking out, even to the point that I only have been using PMags with these guns because, one, Shadow Systems says that they spec the guns to work with PMags, so I wanted to see if they would, and they did. But two, because many people online are reporting that their factory Glock mags are being worn out by the mag release. This is something that many people have had experiences with. Their factory Glock mags are no longer retaining in their Shadow Systems guns because either, and it goes both ways, both of these are common experiences from what I see. Either the magazine is wearing out, meaning that the mag body is basically done, or the mag catch is wearing out. It's so bad to the point that online, one of the most common recommendations that people have for these guns is to swap the mag release with a different aftermarket mag release. So I've been only using PMags because I don't want to wear out my legally owned factory Glock mags that are Freedom Week purchases. I'm putting that in air quotes so people understand that I'm talking about those specific mags that I don't want to have to replace because I cannot replace them. So that's unfortunate. I've seen way too many people having issues with these guns all across the board. Now, that being said, the people with bad experiences are going to be the most vocal, so I understand that. My experience has been mediocre. The trigger sucks so bad that I really am having a hard time enjoying this gun. I don't really care for the recoil impulse. It shoots fine. I didn't have to deal with any sort of break-in period issue. I've talked about this before. I went to the range with both this and the XR920, and I knew that I was supposed to shoot hot 124 grain ammunition to break them in. I thought that I brought 124 grain ammunition to the range. I accidentally brought some 115s that aren't loaded very hot. I had no issues. In this gun, I have had exactly one time where it did not feed the first round off of a mag of some aluminum Blazer 147 grain. That is not a concern to me. I've got over 2,000 rounds through this gun, and I have one instance where the first round off of a PMag that was aluminum case, 147 grain ammo, did not want to feed. I was able to get it to feed into that gun. I believe what I did was I stripped a round off, put the bad round in, put the second round on top, and then I just shot through the whole mag. So for whatever reason, there was one round that didn't want to be the first to go. But other than that, I've had no problems with this gun. But the gun has not been that great for me. I don't really value this gun, what it has to offer, enough for it to be interesting enough for me to consider it worth it for me to buy. Now, that being said, a lot of people really want a Glock 45 in the state of California, so a lot of people will be very interested in this. If you are the kind of person that's gonna swap out your Glock trigger anyway, maybe this is for you. But these guns are not cheap, so whether it's worth it to you, that's going to be entirely up to you. I really am curious what you guys have to say about these guns. Have you had experience with the Shadow Systems? Are they worth it to you? Do a little cost breakdown of how you would set up a Glock, and would it be worth it to just start out with one of these? Some of the other things that Shadow Systems has to offer is, in theory, they have some sort of self-defense warranty where they'll replace your gun. Okay, that's, maybe some people find that interesting. They're made in America, which is cool. But there's a lot of guns that are made in America, so that's not the hugest sell to me. And other than that, I'm not super interested in these anymore. I'm curious if you are. I personally would not buy one of these with my money, but I am glad that I had the experience to shoot these so I can let you know what I think about them. I think the gun has a lot to offer. It's got a lot of neat features to it, like having aggressive slide serrations, having good grip, having different adjustable back straps, having good ergos in terms of just actually holding and using the gun. But when it comes to shooting, it's fine. It's just fine. And for $1,000, I would personally want a lot more than just fine. So let me know what you think down below. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.